It looks like I'm not the only one who went drifting this weekend. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. Happy belated. But that's not exactly... Okay, so that's one track day done. Okay, so I'm very OCD about how I keep things in my warehouse, and right now I just unloaded everything from the car and it's pretty messy, wheels and stuff, and pre-mixed in fuel. So I'm gonna go ahead and tidy that up and then do like a brief update video. It's literally 43 degrees right now. This is gonna suck in the coming days. Okay, so warehouse is finally clean and I can actually focus on speaking. I'm weird where, you know, my brain doesn't really work unless the place is clean, so yeah, bear with me. So this past weekend I actually got back from Haunted Moose, which is an amazing track day here in Englishtown Raceway in New Jersey. It was the November 1st and 2nd events, and I attended the November 2nd event only, which was the daytime event, and it was pretty fun. More fun than I had in a really long time. Now, one thing I did want to note is that I'm pretty rusty with driving. Like, yeah, it's been a while, and silly me, I didn't get that many GoPro clips because I just left the camera on the entire time and my battery just kept dying. But I was able to get one recorded clip down, and that's pretty much the first or second run that I did, and it's pretty much me understeering the whole time. But anyway, here's how it went. Yeah, okay, alright, that was hard to watch. But essentially what was happening was I was getting way too much grip in the front and I was understeering. Excuse me, way too much grip in the rear and I was understeering. And what I mean by that is that the car is going straight and I turn the wheel, the car pretty much keeps going straight. Not good, right? So I was getting little to no response in terms of my steering in the front because I didn't have enough grip. So what I ended up doing was I switched the front wheels with the rear. And by the way, this is very clearly pointed out by one of the track guys, John Vasco. Thank you so much for your help. And it made a world of a difference. So essentially what I was running in the back were my new Zestino Gretsch tires, and on the front I had my old Nito NT05s on the R32 wheels, and I basically switched them around. And I was able to get pretty decent runs by the end of the day. Oh, and by the way, other things that I did included relocating my battery from the engine bay into the rear passenger bin, which is located behind the passenger seat. And it was pretty straightforward. All I did was get some 2-gauge welding cable and measured it and cut it to the length that I needed. And I just got 2 relays, added one in the engine bay and another in the cabin, and pretty much got metal brackets from Home Depot and bent them to shape of the chassis, and just bolted the battery case down. Probably the most amount of time that took was doing those brackets for the battery case, because you gotta, you know, shape them, measure it out, drill the holes, make sure everything fits properly, and then rinse and repeat until everything is sort of bolted down finally in the car. Aside from that, I didn't really do much. I just added oil to the rear diff casing because I was getting a lot of noise and chattering that I didn't really like. And I also got used to the new setup, and the new setup is the angle kit from Villains Drift, which, by the way, thanks to Nate Shuchuk for helping me out with the issue I had in terms of my rack being not centered. I was able to figure that out thanks to his advice. So the support from Villains is actually very, very good. If anybody's in the market for an angle kit, I definitely recommend Villains Drift. And the reason I say this is because the support is obviously great, and they're probably the most competitively priced parts on the market right now in terms of angle kit or, you know, knuckle kits. So I'll go ahead and post a link in the description to their page, so whoever is watching this, you guys check out their parts. And since these FCs or second generation RX-7s have pretty horrible steering angle coming from the factory, you're pretty much bound to make an upgrade either to the knuckles or like the extended tie rods or what have you. If you're into this whole drifting thing, it's pretty much a necessity. If you want to have fun, you can try to do it without, but you're pretty much going to be spinning out the entire time. Yes, it might be better to learn and get better as a driver, but if you're looking for like the most immediate amount of fun, I would pretty much recommend an angle kit right off the bat, especially for these cars. Now, like I mentioned, it is getting pretty chilly. It's the beginning of November. It is 40 degrees today. So the season is coming to a slow close here on the East Coast, which is kind of sad, but I'll try to do a little bit more driving before the end of the season. Try to get more seat time, definitely get better at driving. And hopefully I can document my progress here, and you guys can see sort of the progression that I make as I get more time behind the car. In other news, Clubloose actually made an announcement that Formula D is coming to Englishtown Raceway here in Old Bridge, New Jersey. In the past, Wall Speedway, which is the old track for New Jersey, it was kind of boring because it was just an oval, which is similar to Urbandale, where the drivers would ride the bank, hopefully not screw up their cars riding the wall, transition down and go into a circle and then go back. But Englishtown Raceway is a very technical track, which I'm excited to see how they're going to set up for the competition and how drivers are going to be able to manage the different elevation changes and the straightaways, and there's a bank that goes along the track as well, and I'm curious to see how that actually goes. And now I know it's still Formula D at the end of the day. Me being more of a grassroots guy, I'm going to be excited to see what type of spectators show up and all the different cars that are going to be in the parking lot, and you know, what type of people are actually into these events nowadays. Back in the day it was fun to watch, but now it's just horsepower wars, right? Who has the most amount of horsepower? Not to say, you know, the drivers aren't skilled at all. It's actually pretty cool to watch in person. It's just that some of the style is still missing in American drift, which again, the grassroots guys are actually taking charge in terms of making cool looking drift cars. It might take a little bit more time and effort and money to do so, but it sort of motivates other people to get into the sport, which I like. And if you work on your own car and you like the way it looks and you admire from time to time, it keeps you motivated to keep going and keep drifting and taking your car out and actually be part of the whole, you know, community that is grassroots drifting. So that's pretty cool, and I'm excited to see who actually shows up to the event. So anyway, future plans for the car include getting over fenders, because now that I swapped the wheels, the front is poking out pretty heavily. It's not really looking too good, so I'm definitely gonna have to get over fenders for that. Here, I'll actually show you guys. So the reason for the current fitment on the car is obviously because of the 20mm spacers I have on the front of the car when I put on the R33s, and this sort of is a necessity because it avoids the rubbing and whatnot that I have if I choose not to run the spacers. So yeah, it is causing a lot of poke out, which is making it look ghetto and making me feel uncomfortable as a result. So definitely over fenders to come in the near future. So that's a quick update for now. I will post full videos of the battery relocation that I did, maybe like a time lapse, as well as the power steering that I replaced and the knuckle install, which is very dry footage just because of the fact that that was when I first started recording everything that I'm doing to the car. And I'll also show you guys why you should always disconnect your battery when working on the car. Here's why. Yeah, I totally meant to do that on purpose to give you guys a lesson on what shouldn't be done. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with that story. And on that note, thanks for watching. And this made it a little bit easier for, I guess, weight better lighting.